You'll notice I can use my blessing. It has a 56% chance now of success. Now, for the sake of RNG, I'm just going to click this. It's probably going to fail. All right, let's talk about traits. Let's talk about gearing up. A lot of people have been doing this improperly, myself included. And if you guys are new players to the game, this might be some of the more handy information for yourselves. And don't do as I do, do as I'm doing now. So let's talk about traits. Let's talk about gearing up. Opening up right now, let's talk about what it means to be a certain power level and a certain gear score. Power level is nice and all, but the most important thing is actually the statistics that your character holds. If you're familiar with playing Black Desert Online, then this is going to click with you very, very easily. If you're not, then ignore the Black Desert comment and just focus up from here. When you look at your overall power level, yes, your stats over here are important. It's good to kind of re-mitigate these as you level up and as you progress and readjust these as you do. But when you click on these stat details for your basic stats, these become some of your most, if not the most important things to be paying attention to as you gear up. Your hit chance essentially is your chance of hitting people. If people are high in evasion defensive statistics, they have a chance to dodge you. If they are high in endurance, then endurance is just a tank and it sponges most damage. But hit chance is very comparable to accuracy in Black Desert Online. So hit chance is going to be very, very relevant towards the damage that you can deal to opponent overall. You have two styles of defense. You have endurance and you have evasion. In Black Desert Online, you have DR, damage reduction, and you have evasion. Evasion gives you a chance to cause your opponent to completely miss you. They will miss you based on the hit chance that the person hitting you has. If a person has low hit chance and you have high evasion, chances are you will dodge majority of their attacks. If you have high endurance, endurance is comparable to DR, damage reduction in Black Desert Online, or if you don't understand that, endurance is basically going to just make you tankier overall. It is good to choose one of these two statistics to go with. So if you're endurance, stick with endurance. If you're evasion, stick with evasion. A lot of us may be following builds on a variety of different websites that are very, very helpful. I myself am following this build that was shout out made by Eli. This is an end game build that I'm driving towards right now, but a lot of people are kind of skipping some important steps. I myself did this in the beginning and I've learned from this mistake pretty quickly. Now I'm going to just keep it simple. It's kind of just like a 1, 2, 3 step kind of process. Step 1, you start the game, you work on your first gear. Step 2, you work on your mid-tier gear. And step 3, you start working on your end gear. So same as the color grade of gear, green, blue, purple. A lot of people are jumping into the game, seeing purple items and just going from step 1 to step 3 and completely skipping step 2, thinking they can get ahead quicker, not realizing how much you're actually hurting yourself. They see purple, they go, this is a best in slot item for me. They grab the purple item, they throw it on and they assume it's better, but not really knowing why. And I want to explain that. As we look down here, you have your early game build that I can follow here. I have my mid game build that I can follow here. And then I have my mid game evasion build. And then the first build that was up at the top of this page was my end game build. This mid game build is essential to build and follow. The blue grade gear and upgrading blue traits is going to give you a massive power spike where you will actually feel those statistics. And let's talk about that a little bit more now. So over here, I'm currently readjusting some of my gear because as you notice, some of these accessories and pieces of armor actually aren't fully leveled up. However, when I hover over them, they are fully traded and those traits are fully leveled up. And I'm going to explain to you how to focus on this and an efficient way to follow. And if you have any other tips and tricks that I may have missed, please feel free to put them in the comment section down below. But essentially, a fully enhanced, fully traded, fully leveled piece of blue gear is much more powerful than what I would describe as a naked purple. A naked purple, let's say if this was level 9, it is missing traits. The traits are not leveled up, and I will actually go into a statistical deficit because it's missing important statistics that boost your overall power level. So this level 4 blue pants that is fully traded is far more valuable than this naked purple that does not have traits that I need on top of the traits not being leveled up. I actually lose important statistics. And yes, while your power number and level is nice to see go up, your power level has nothing to do with how you will perform in PvP if that matters to you. And that's going to matter to pretty much the vast majority of us. Because again, you're fully fully traded gear is what's giving you the statistics that matters. You want hit chance so you can hit your opponents. You either want high endurance so you can sponge damage, or you want high evasion so you can dodge damage. And it's that simple. So if you're one of those players that has just, like myself, that has just thrown purples in for the sake of throwing in purples because it's just a prettier color and we know it's a better grade, you're shooting yourself in the foot right now. I even have my best in slot ring right here, but you'll notice that it's only got one trait, which I also need. But my blue ring that I'm currently wearing that doesn't have fully leveled up traits is actually more beneficial because it has more statistical gains from it. Now, how do we level up these traits? How do we unlock these traits? So to simply put, I'm going to use my highly advanced software here that we've spent many hours developing. You have green, you have blue, you have purple. Okay, that's purple. It's a little pinky, but I'm calling it purple. To simply put, let's say that these items have their 3 traits. Let's say that these items have only 1 of them, and let's say that they are missing 2 of them. Okay, we will call this item is going to be called item 1. This item is going to be called item 2. This item is going to be called item 3, and then I'll give you an in-game example. I'm going to keep this really simple. So item 1, in order to unlock the traits that I need another item 1 with that specific trait, and then I can smash that trait into item 1 to unlock that second slot. It needs to be the same item to unlock the trait, okay? But it doesn't need to be the same item to level up the trait. And we'll talk about that as we move along. So again, another example, if I need to unlock this second slot that I need, let's assume that trait 1 is the trait that I need. Item 2 needs a specific trait. Then I'm going to need another item 2 with additional trait that I need to unlock. And then I'm going to smash item 2 into my main one to unlock that second trait. And again, item 3 on the purple, if I need to unlock the second trait, I need a purple exact same of item 3 with that trait that I need, and I smash it in to item 3 to unlock that second trait. If an item that you need doesn't have the traits that you need, so let's say item 1 here we'll use for example, and it's the same for the green, blue, and purple, but let's say that item 1 here is the item we need, but none of the traits is what we need. We would need once again another item 1 with the trait that we need, and we will smash it into item 1 to unlock the first trait slot that we need, and then following the same system after to unlock the rest of the traits. Okay, this is just how to unlock traits. How do we level up traits and how do we keep it efficient? Now, purple becomes the most expensive ones because some of the best in slot items may be scarce in resource on the marketplace depending on what server that you are on. So there are more efficient ways to level this up, and we can talk about that as I have some Lucent available. So let's go to my gear. Right now, let's find an item that might be missing a trait. So let's go to the Sapphire Dimensional Band. It has max health on it. One of the next statistics that I need or traits that I need on it is either skill damage boost or buff duration. So let's go on to the marketplace. I have to look for the same item with the trait that I need. So we'll type in Sapphire, and then we look for the extracts. Okay, the extracts is what I want to buy, and then I'm looking for skill damage boost or buff duration. So here's skill damage boost and here's buff duration. Now they're a little expensive. I don't have as much Lucent as I need right now, so I'll just go out, I'll farm some more Lucent, and then when I need that trait, I'll come back and I'll unlock it, right? So I can buy this and I can smash it in. So since I can't afford the Lucent, let's see if we can look onto something else. Hopefully this is starting to make a bit more sense. I have the Clasp of the Conqueror, which is another best in slot item. It also needs buff duration and max health. Let's see how much that costs on the marketplace. So Clasp of Conqueror extract, it needs buff duration, it needs max health. I don't have enough Lucent right around the corner, so this is what I'm going to buy to unlock those traits. But I think this is starting to probably make sense to some. Now, how do we efficiently level up the trait? We're going to talk about that in just a second. Let me see if I have something here that needs a trait unlocked. It looks like all my blues are currently unlocked. Let's just use this Belt of Combat Prowess or example. So again, this is a blue grade. Let's say that I need a certain trait. It's got max health. Let's look for skill damage. Let's look for mana regen. Okay, we want mana regen on this Belt of Combat Prowess. So go to Auction House, Belt of Combat Prowess. Here's the extracts. Here is there is no mana regen on that one. That's fine. Let's go with, okay, I want health regen. You know, this is just an example. I'm gonna throw away some Lucent here for you. Okay, we go ahead and buy the blue for the blue. Same item to unlock the trait. We open our enhancing. We go to the traits. We select our item. Here is the unlock slot. Here is that extract. I click here. I unlock the trait. Boom. Now I have that trait unlocked. So if I want to level up this trait, what I can do is now, since I have this, I can look for the same trait on belts specifically and look for the cheapest one on the market to start leveling up that trait. Now let's talk about that, and then I'll start giving you some examples. So back to our super highly sophisticated software we have here. Let's assume that these items have all three traits that we want, and now we need to level them up. So blues, greens, and we're not really going to focus on, so I'm going to remove this from the equation now. We're only going to focus on blues and purples. So blues will have 3 trait levels, purples will have 4. So in order to unlock the level guaranteed on blues, I will use other blues. You can use greens for a lower percentage chance of getting them, and I'm going to go over that when we start talking about purples. Greens are going to be far from the equation and what matters, honestly, in my opinion. Let's focus on the mid game and end game here. So blues, let's say I have this trait unlocked of a specific type. So now that I've unlocked it, as I've just shown you, now I'm going to go to the marketplace and look for the same trait on the same type of accessory, the belt type, not the same item, the belt. Since we did a belt, we're going to look for a belt with the same trait and look for the cheapest one so that we can do the most affordable route to leveling up the trait guaranteed. So with a blue, we'll 100% unlock the next trait level. And I'll give you an example of that belt that we just did. So here is that belt, the belt of combat prowess. We did max health or health regen. So let's once again go to the auction house. We'll look up the belt. We'll go for health regen. We'll go ahead and buy this. And now when I go to traits, we can use this to get a guaranteed level. So we go ahead and enchant this. And now it is level 2 out of 3. And traits are also a contributing factor towards your character's power level. They're a huge part of your power level, but overall strength. So here we are with our second level. And if I do that again, I can level it up a third time. So obviously the best efficient route is going for all 3 of your traits, leveling up those traits and doing it that way. Now, I showed you buying the same belt of the combat prowess with the health regen. What you can also do to find the cheapest route is I can click on the accessories. I can go to the search criteria. I can search for the grade of the item. Below it, I will find the trait. I will look for health regen. I hit apply, and look, instead of buying it for 45 lucent, like I just did, you can buy it for 19 instead at half the cost. So now I go ahead. Oh, sorry, this is not the right accessory. I click on the belt. So same thing. I can buy it for about 25% less, let's just say. So instead of 45, 49, I can buy it for 33 lucent. So make sure when you look up the accessories on the tabs over here, you make sure you also have the right item selected. If I'm leveling up a belt and I go for the necklace will not be able to be put into that belt. So make sure you click on the belt, click on the regeneration loop that's selling for cheaper. I buy this for cheaper. I go to my traits. I click on my belt. Now here's that cheaper belt that I have just purchased, and I can pop that in. Now I have a full level trait on this item. And then you will do this for all of your blues. Here is my power level right now, 3035 with accessories and blue gear that isn't even fully leveled. So my purple gear that I could be wearing with no traits unlocked would actually be a 1, a lower power level than this, but 2, my statistics would be borderline non-existent. So this is why leveling these traits up is going to be super important and super beneficial for you. Now let's talk about the purple. Let's talk about the real deal here, okay? So purples, once again, as I mentioned, you need the same item with the trait that you need to unlock that trait. And that starts to get really expensive. A lot of people are hanging on to trait unlock stones for better items and better weapons that are going to be coming in the near future. But there are some items on some servers that are just ridiculously expensive. So if I go to traits and I select this Phantom Wolf Mask, this is a best in slot item for some people. You'll notice that some of the traits are missing. So I need to buy another Phantom Wolf Mask with the same trait that I need to unlock that trait. So we go to the auction house. Let's look up, let's clear the search criteria. We'll type in Phantom Extracts, and you'll notice cooldown speed is one of them that I need, but I think I have that unlocked on mine. Evasion, endurance, range endurance, max range evasion, mana evasion. It's honestly very expensive. Some of them are actually way cheaper than I thought they'd be. The Shock Commander plate was another one. When we look at the extracts or the traits are starting to go down actually quite a bit. When I first got it on our server, some of the traits were going for 8,000, 10,000, 12,000, and surprisingly enough, people were buying them. So if you find yourself in a situation where traits are very, very expensive, there is the option to use trait unlock stones. So we go here, unlock trait selectively, and these can cost trait unlock stones. Trait unlock stones are earned in a variety of ways. If you are interested in learning how to unlock more and earn more materials in the game, I highly suggest checking out my other guides. I'm not going to be showing the min-max ways of how to get these, but one way I can mention how to get these is definitely by doing your weekly mission board. Weekly mission boards are great for this. You have a chance of getting these from fishing. You have a chance from getting these from different events and things like that in game. So just a quick little FYI and tip there for you. But you can unlock traits through trait unlock stones. I don't really recommend it. I would wait until your marketplace potentially balances out and starts pumping up some more volume as certain areas unlocked and certain items become more obtainable. So remain patient with some of that, or do your thing and go ahead and grab that. Let's talk about leveling up the traits more specifically. So I have a little bit of Lucent left and I only have so much time left to be able to do this with. So let's look at the Etched Ambassador band. Okay, we're gonna copy this here. I'm gonna paste this up above. So right now I need max health, skill damage boost, and buff duration. So when we look to the marketplace for these traits on the max health, skill damage boost, and buff duration, so let's go first. Let's see if there's a good price on purples. So we'll go accessories, we'll go search criteria, we'll select the epic grade first, we'll find a trait, we'll look at max health. So 550 per, okay, not bad. Let's go ahead and look up skill damage boost. Even worse. And then let's look up buff duration. Okay, we clear our search criteria, we select accessories, we go to search, we'll go to rare, we'll find the trait, and let's look at max health, and then we'll look at the rings. So max health is an average of 160, so we'll put an average of 160. Let's look up the trait buff duration. We'll once again select the ring. So buff duration selling for 60, that's a good price. And then we'll look up skill damage boost, selling for, let's say 80, about 100 on average, more like 100 to 115. Okay, so the clear winner here in the pricing is going to be this one here in the middle, which is the buff duration. A route that I like to do is the RNG route. This one becomes a little bit gambly, but there's a way to do this efficiently. When you throw in a blue piece of gear or a blue trait into the purple trait, it has a 10% chance of succeeding. If it fails, it builds up a pity stack called blessings. If you throw in a piece of green gear into a purple, it has a 1% chance of successfully proccing. A 1% chance. It's crazy. So typically, if you're going to do the RNG route, I'd recommend going for the blues, obviously. So yesterday, I just happened to pick up a piece of green gear and I threw this into my best in slot bow. And with a 1% chance of succeeding, it actually did. Remember, 1% chance to succeed, 99% chance to fail. So this is just a pure RNG moment, but I managed to get giga carried on this one. And then again, with the blue traits, you can throw in a piece of blue with the same trait, and it has a 10% chance to successfully proc, which just happened right here, okay? So that's the RNG factor. Let's talk about efficient stack building though. Rather than going ahead and buying these pity pieces for 160 on average, 100 on average, what we're going to do is we're going to build pity stacks with this average price, and when we get to a high blessing to get a guaranteed chance, we're then going to buy the more expensive one to get ourselves a guaranteed level up. Sorry, I didn't even click the right accessories. Skill damage boost is actually 200 on average, so scratch that, it's 200. It's even worse, but still the buff duration is where we're going to see the best, most efficient route here. So let's go to here, trait, buff duration, apply. We go to the rings, 60 on average, so I'll go ahead and I'll buy 5 of these. Okay, we got our rings. Let's go ahead and go to traits. Let's select our ring. And this is where we're going to start building our stacks. Remember, there's a 10% chance that this can succeed. Okay, so let's go ahead and enchant it. It's likely going to fail. And now we build up blessings. You'll notice that my enchant trait from 10%, if I use the blessing, has now gone to 18%, right? But we don't want to use that. That's too low. If we get it full, we get a 90% chance. So let's go ahead and enchant this again. It's likely going to fail as we do this. We'll enchant it again. We'll enchant it again. Right? We throw in this, we build up our stacks. Our blessing is at 200, and I can use the same blessing across my traits. We're going to do an RNG route. I don't recommend doing this, but we'll go back to the auction house. We'll go back to the rings with our buff duration. We'll buy 2 more of these. For the sake of the video, I'm just going to do this for you guys. We'll go to our ring. We'll throw in this. We'll throw in this. Now, normally you would do this to a much higher successful chance. Normally about 400 to 480 blessing will give you a much more guaranteed chance of success, and it has a chance to fail. But you want to push yourself as close to 100% as possible. Now, remember the most expensive one on our list? Skill damage boost. So at this case, let's assume that the blessing meter is full. And since I only have so much Lucent left, we'll now go here. We'll type in skill damage boost. Go back to the rings for 198. Let's go ahead and accept this. And now we go to our traits and I go to skill damage boost, and you'll notice I can use my blessing. It has a 56% chance now of success. And remember, imagine if I was building this with the 200 on average piece of equipment for this. So mathematically, we're getting 3 pities per one of this. So it's much more efficient to do it this way. Now, for the sake of RNG, I'm just going to click this. It's probably going to fail. And it went. Look at that, higher percent chance, and it went. There you go. And you'll notice that my trait's now leveled up. So obviously you want to fill your blessings up more with a much more guaranteed chance of success, especially if you're going to pay to win this route. But hopefully this kind of gives you a better idea of how you need to be leveling up your traits. But don't forget, blue gear is so much easier to level up, and it's so much more cost efficient and cost effective. So you should absolutely be leveling up your blue gear first, fully trading out your blue gear, and then start to work on purples. You get your purple, you start to unlock your traits, you level up those traits, and once that item is fully leveled up, fully traded, you swap it for the blue one. But having a naked purple such as this one, you can see here that alone from this Imperial ring, yes, it might have a bit more magic defense, but in comparison, I get more health, I get more buff duration, I get more skill damage boost, which I think is a much better trade-off in comparison to these two, which again, traits is going to increase your power level on top of the purple leveling it up with your growth stones for enhancing level, on top of leveling up your skills in your skill tree for your power level. So absolutely start leveling up your traits and stop skipping step 2. Don't go 1 to 3, go 1, 2, 3. Level up your traits, level up your traits, level up your traits. I really hope that this was helpful in some sort of way. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. If I missed anything out and you have more information to offer, please put that down in the comment section down below. But as far as that goes, hit the like if this was helpful, comment down below if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you guys want to see more from me. I stream all the time, and I've been streaming this game quite a bit, so feel free to come join me. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to help you out and answer. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.